with your professional work to produce better stuff. So that promises to be quite exciting. And for any musicians out there in the audience, we've got the first of our festival sessions from the Martin Agency, who are talking about music in brand storytelling. And tomorrow they'll be running a songwriting workshop in which you'll be able to win your own guitar. Okay. Our next session, I have to warn our audience of a nervous disposition, may contain some images of an adult nature, so that should make you all sit up and pay attention. And actually on that, the Tom of Finland session with McCann Helsinki, which takes place at 12:30, that also contains some quite graphic adult content. But we'll go back to this morning's slightly naughty presentation. She's an artist, a photographer. Her work is regularly featured on the front pages of magazines and newspapers in the UK and around the world. Please give a very warm welcome to Alison Jackson. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alison Jackson. Thank you very much for coming this morning. I'm a contemporary artist, and I make work about our obsession with celebrity and celebrity culture created by the media, constructed by the media. But I show in museums and art galleries all over the world. This is the Pompidou Centre in France and the Schirn Museum in Germany. But I work across all media and arts platforms. So I make television, stage, I've just finished making an opera, publishing, advertising, digital, viral, and branded content, which I'm going to talk about. I make films, photographs, videos about celebrities doing things in private, but I use lookalikes and actors with wigs, cleverly sort of placed to make them look as realistic as possible. It's about our voyeurism and our need to believe. And recently I've been asked to do a lot of branded content, particularly over the last 18 months. So agencies and brands come to me. A brand, not on the high street, a very small brand in England, came to me to do a Mother's Day set of photographs and films with the British royal family using lookalikes, placing their product. Here we see a little iPhone cover with corgis on, with the Queen taking a photograph of her family in a selfie, and various other pictures, which were all little films as well, with the actual product in the picture. Not particularly interesting creatively, but had the product there. Now these images went on the front cover of the Mail on Sunday in England, which is exactly what they wanted. They had bought my time for a couple of weeks and had a license for 2 weeks, but really all they needed was 3 days. So the front cover really is about 8.2 million circulation, double that for passers-by. They got all of the coverage on the news programs on Sunday, with all the journalists reviewing the work on the news programs. So it went everywhere. On the front cover here, they didn't mention the brand. Inside, they mentioned the brand all over it, and my name, which covers the newspaper legally, because suddenly it becomes not real, and they say spoof here, so that it's covered by parody laws, legally speaking. But they had all of this coverage under the auspices of branded content and editorial. This then went on into viral. The Mail Online then put it on their side, which is about 100 for a double-page spread. Similarly, Pippa Middleton, our future Queen's sister, went into, again, a double-page thread in the Daily Mail. But it just seems to be that topical stories, and you can plan them because you know exactly the calendar dates of what's happening in the future with most celebrities or public figures, will get picked up and have masses of exposure. And this is what seems to be happening with my work at the moment. And I started very early on when Princess Diana died. And I couldn't understand why people were mourning her death when they didn't know her. They felt they knew her intimately. But in fact, very few people had actually met her. So, and we only knew her through a series of press images, stories in the newspapers and on television, online, not then actually. And so I took one of the most famous pictures by Mario Testino and crudely got a gun and shot at it, wondering if I could erase and destroy an image physically, could I destroy that image from my mind? And the answer is sadly no, because that image is beautifully composed. It reads eye to psyche very fast, and it's impossible to erase an iconic image. And they're more bloody images. So I went on to use lookalikes of Princess Diana and depicted an image that existed in the public mind. Was Diana going to marry Dodi? Was she pregnant by Dodi? Was she murdered because she was pregnant by Dodi? And here is a sort of Snowden-style picture of Diana Dodi and their mixed-race child. It caused a media sensation at the time, which I'll show a little bit later. And I was very interested that it went full circle back into the press, particularly in view of what they were saying about me. And I went on to make other images about Diana being very seductive, Diana hating the media, then looking into her life in a very voyeuristic way. Here is Camilla, her rival, kissing Prince Charles while she looks on. I was particularly interested in trying to make my photography and films completely authentic. So they look real. I wasn't trying to create a fake anything. I was actually trying to replace the real. The photograph is the thing we know, not the real person. So here is the Queen in bed with her corgis. Here is the Queen talking to Camilla Parker Bowles. And I was interested in the seductive nature of photography, how we really believe that it might be true or is true, even though we know that photography certainly only tells a part truth. I made up narratives. You know, what does the Queen do in private? Of course she loves her horses. Of course she'll want to go and watch her horses in the stables, a stud. And also breaking taboos about, you can't imagine the Queen on the loo, but hey, here she is on the toilet, the one thing you're not supposed to see. And also then making comments about, this is Prince Philip, you know, are the lookalikes so good? Is the photography so good? Can you really tell whether it's real or not? So basically, all my work was going, but this was while I was at art college, was going back into the press. And the press would be particularly sort of rude about me, and but giving me large exposure. This was a whole page in a newspaper, but at the beginning of the newspaper, it went over to the States. Big debates whether I should be allowed to make work of this nature, and, you know, sensationalist headlines. saying how terrible this work was, and a lot of money's been spent by the newspapers on this. Then suddenly they started to put my photography on the front covers of magazines. So this is the Sunday Times. I had a show exhibition on Bin Laden, and they started to talk about it as if it was acceptable. I mean, this show was quite alarming. They're fairly innocuous pictures, but I had to be protected by the anti-terrorist squad that protected the gallery and my studio at the time. And they're all images about how our view about Bin Laden. Then the newspapers continued to put my photography on the front covers practically every month. Gave me a column in The Guardian, and this is a society magazine, Tackler, which apparently caused a stir in the royal family. I try not ever to take an interest as to what the celebrity thinks about what I'm doing, otherwise I'd never do it.